The first conversation activity is about education. According to my personal experiences, the first question that normally most students may come up with in an actual IELTS test is about education, whether you work or study. So, the terminal objective for our conversation activity is to help students build the quality to answer in an argumentative way to a set of questions. For example, they may be asked about their major or about their options, they may be asked about their educational background, and of course, they may be asked to explain why they have chosen this field, they have chosen this option, or why they are going to pursue their studies in a specific field. The enabling objective, let's say the tools that will help us achieve those purposes, is in fact a set of, let's say, topic related syllabus that we are expected to provide our students with. Regarding grammar, we have perfect tenses. For example, present perfect tense is perfectly in line with educational backgrounds and achievements. In case people are graduated, they can use perfect tenses to talk about their educational background. Or quite the contrary, if the person is not yet graduated, is still studying, they can use continuous tenses in order to talk about ongoing education. To be going to, in case of describing future educational goals, if, for example, a student is going to change his major, definitely to be going to is the verb tense to use. Stage language, for example, initially, then following this, afterwards, finally. These are the expressions that students need in case they have further studies, in case they have more than one university degree. For example, initially I started studying for my associate degree at X university. After that, I pursued my studies to the bachelor's level at Y university. And after a difficult concours exam, I was admitted at Z University to study for my master's degree. In order to talk about the order in which students have obtained their university degrees, they can always use the stage language. Topic related vocabulary, there is a set of lexical resources we will ask our students to memorize in case they do not know. We will give them the topics, we will ask them to give examples of those topics or define them. So center titles, we have college, university, school. For university majors and options, for instance, we have French literature, so French is the major, literature is the option. Other options for this major, we have didactics, we have translation studies in Iran, so these are all options. University degrees, so students have to talk about diploma, associate, bachelor, master, PhD, doctoral degree, postdoctoral, etc. When it comes to modes of education, we have part-time, full-time, online, etc. So these are the types of lexical resources that we try to equip our students with, and we will ask them to use them in their conversations as much as possible. The next one is cultural differences. I don't think they would be that essential because most students may never come up with a situation where they could use these, let's say, cultural differences in an effective way. But knowing them is much better than not knowing, because our classes are normally held under, let's say, non-native environments. So we are basically teaching English to speakers of foreign languages. The first cultural difference that we have in Iran is the first year pre-university course. There is no pre-university course in other countries as far as I know. This is something that we have in our educational system. And in case people are going to talk about their studies, apart from this pre-university course, which is the literal translation of this course that we have entitled Pish Daneshgahi, examiners, especially those who are not native Persian speakers, they are not expected to understand this 1 year pre-university course. Another belief that we have in Iran is that course-based programs are depreciated. They have much less value compared with research-based programs. This may be the case in Iran, but personally, I believe we have some luxurious universities where course-based programs are offered. So I doubt if this sort of difference in value would be the case for research and course-based programs. They're equally valuable. The next one is the master's degree. I have seen many universities around the world offering 2-year course programs. This is the case in Iran, but also in international levels, we have some universities which provide 1-year master programs. This is especially useful for students who wish to study a master's degree while they do not have a relative educational background. For instance, people who wish to study IT while they have studied, for example, French for their bachelor. So in Iran, this is not the case. We do not have 1 year master courses. So this is a third cultural difference that we try to help our students understand in order to avoid any probable cultural shock, either for students or the examiner. So let's talk about the actual conversation activity and how it is going to be organized. Before start of the class, we will ask our students to watch a couple of videos on YouTube. So these are 4 very useful educational videos that you can find on YouTube. The first one is about a complete IELTS speaking session. So you will see a set of questions and answers in the framework of education, sample answers, very useful, very to the point. And of course, the second one would be the educational system in the UK and the US, the differences between the two systems. For example, when we say school in UK, we are basically talking about schools. But when we come to the US, we could use the school with the meaning of a university. For example, when we say business school, we do not talk about primary school. We are talking about a business university. Educational system in the USA, again, it is somehow similar to the Persian educational system. Students would have a better relationship with this video. So there are, of course, other educational systems, but USA is perfectly in line with what we have in Iran. Vocabulary for e-learning and different academic courses. So this is perfect for students who are without any virtual studies or virtual educational background. Once students arrive to the class, the first thing we do is provide them with worksheets. So worksheets are normally a set of terms and expressions, and we will ask our students to either give them definitions or examples. So the yellow parts are the terms which are published on the worksheet, and the white ones are examples the students should give regarding each yellow term. This is a very limited sample of those topic-related vocabulary that we have in the field of education, and the full word list of those educational terms are added in the comment section below. So feel free to copy and paste them and adopt them in your classes. The type of conversation activities, once the worksheets are completely worked on and explained, there are a set of questions and answers. We will ask the students whether they work or study, what they are studying, or why they have chosen this major, what difficulties they have had during their studies, are they studying English at school or university, and so on. So these are the different types of questions we will ask our students. And of course, teachers should be ready for any strange answers. It is highly unlikely that students give the same answer to a similar question. Different people have different ways of thinking, different ideologies, and they may answer in quite a different way. We have to be ready to those unexpected answers, and we should be able to ask accordingly. In terms of assessment, we try to give instructions and give feedback to our students once their conversation is over. We do not stop them when they are still speaking. We try to focus on enabling objectives. For example, if a student has difficulty conjugative verbs in perfect tenses, we try to help them talk about, for example, their educational backgrounds using perfect tenses. And the feedback we provide is student specific. So the problem that one student may have may not be the case for another. It is learner-centered. So each feedback, each suggestion that we have for a specific student is for that particular person, not for other students. The third responsibility of an instructor is to give better suggestions. The students may be already giving right answers, but we may be able to provide them a far better answer. So in that case, we try to provide them better alternatives. At the end of the class, we will try to provide some homework assignments. So basically, our in-class activities are for task 1 and 3 of the actual IELTS test. It remains the task 2, since this task requires some preparation, about 1 minute of preparation in advance. So we will ask our students to do this at home, record their voice, and send it to our correctional department at Parsian Institute. So that's it. I hope it has helped. The second conversation activity would be about professional life, which is exactly the topic for my upcoming video.